You're watching NASA TV.
Good day from Mission Control in Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room. You are looking live at the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station, where a veteran Russian cosmonaut and a veteran European astronaut are suited up in Russian Orlan spacesuits, ready to begin a planned 6.5-hour spacewalk to continue outfitting the European robotic arm that is attached to the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module. Welcome into our coverage of today's spacewalk as Expedition 67 Commander Oleg Artemyev and European Space Agency flight engineer Samantha Christoforetti are in the final stages of their preparations, breathing pure oxygen to cleanse the nitrogen out of their bloodstreams, preventing a condition known as decompression sickness or the bends from occurring as they step out into the vacuum of space. They have donned Russian Orlan spacesuits. Leak checks of those spacesuits have been conducted successfully, and the Poisk airlock, from which they will exit a short time from now, is in the process of being depressurized down to vacuum that will precede the opening of the hatch to Poisk and mark the official start of today's spacewalk. This will be the 251st spacewalk in support of ISS assembly maintenance and upgrades, the 6th spacewalk out of the International Space Station in 2022, the 3rd spacewalk of Expedition 67. For Oleg Artemyev, this will be the 6th spacewalk of his career, 5 previous spacewalks totaling 34 hours and 39 minutes of spacewalking time. The first spacewalk he conducted was in June of 2014. For Christoforetti, this will be the first spacewalk for her, a special spacewalk for the European Space Agency, since she will be working on a variety of activities involving that European robotic arm that launched on the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module last July. Christoforetti also today will become the 4th European astronaut to conduct a spacewalk in a Russian spacesuit. That began with Jean-Luc Chrétien at the Mir space station in 1988. Thomas Reiter of ESA conducted a pair of spacewalks at the Mir in 1995 and 1996, and Jean-Pierre Hanier conducted a spacewalk at the Mir space station in 1999. So it's been 23 years since a European conducted a spacewalk in a Russian spacesuit. Christoforetti will join that roster today when she steps out into the vacuum of space. Unlike a U.S. based spacewalk, in which the elapsed time of the spacewalk is measured from the time a crew puts its suits on internal battery power until the repressurization of the Quest airlock, a Russian spacewalk is measured from hatch open to hatch close. So we'll be monitoring those numbers from the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov across the ocean on the outskirts of Moscow, and give you the latest information as we have it on the exact time of the beginning of today's spacewalk. A number of activities are on tap throughout the course of the day today. It will all begin with the deployment of 10 nanosatellites from the Poisk module. These are satellites that are part of a radio technology experiment that will be deployed one after the other. Satellites that are about 10.5 pounds in total, about 1 pound apiece, measuring 6 inches by 6 inches by 13 inches in length. Those satellites to be hand deployed in a retrograde fashion with no chance for any recontact of the International Space Station. So that will be the first activity of the day. Once that's complete, then Artemyev and Cristoforetti will move up to a workstation on the Poisk module, where they will temporarily install an adapter for the European robotic arm. That temporary installation of that adapter, the main purpose of that is to set the stage for the relocation of an airlock for the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module that currently resides on the Rosviet module on the Earth-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. That relocation through the use of the European robotic arm will take place on a future spacewalk. They will also be involved in the replacement of a protective window on one of the two camera lighting units on the end effectors, basically the grappling end, the hands of the European robotic arm. There have been a few issues with the camera lighting unit on one of those two end effectors that has essentially compromised some of the vision acuity on the end effector camera and the camera lighting unit. So they're going to be replacing a protective window on one of the two end effectors on the European robotic arm. They will also convert the external control panel into what is called a stowage mode. This is a control panel that is used for the operation of the arm while the crew members, the spacewalkers, are outside doing their work, and they will be also installing other adapters for future spacewalks in and around the Nauka and Poisk modules of the International Space Station. They also do plan on extending one of the two telescoping booms called Strela booms, Strela being the Russian word for arrow, from the Zarya module. That was the first component ever launched for the International Space Station back in November of 1998. That Strela boom that's on Zarya will be extended all the way up to the Poisk at the space-facing side of the Russian segment of the station, and that will be used to facilitate the movement of crew members and hardware on future Russian spacewalks.
Russian Spacewalk ESA, or European Space Agency, will be conducted by Oleg Artemyev, EV1 in the red stripes, and Samantha Christoforetti, EV2 in the blue stripes. To start the spacewalk, crew will egress the Poisk airlock with the NANO-SATELLITES bundle in a crew lock bag. Samantha's first task will be to install the Glisser M camera on a Zvezda handrail. Oleg will translate and ingress the Strela operator's post, facing station aft. Samantha will assist with the handoff of the NANO-SATELLITES bundle to Oleg. Oleg will deploy 10 NANO-SATELLITES in total from the operator's post. Once complete with the NANO-SATELLITES deploy, EV1 will take the tethers and protective covers back to the Poisk airlock. EV2 will turn off and retrieve the camera from the Zvezda handrail. Crew will then retrieve the European robotic arm, or ERA, adapter from Poisk and translate to the passive base point. The team will work together to remove the platform and install the ERA adapter in its place. Both EV1 and EV2 will use the Strela boom to translate the released platform from Poisk to the Nauka module. They will remove the protective cover from the passive base point and install the platform. Oleg and Samantha will then translate the ERA end effector 2, where they'll remove a protective cover from a camera. Afterwards, the crew will then translate further nadir to the ERA control panel, where they'll set it to stowage mode. Oleg will break off and reconfigure the MLI on the Nauka module. After Oleg is complete with the MLI task, he will lead the translation back to the end effector 2, where crew will reinstall the camera cover. Oleg and Samantha will leave the ERA end effector 2 worksite and translate Zenith to the Strela end effector, where they have a short task to install a retainer. After the Strela task, the crew will translate Zenith to the Zarya module. They'll then translate station forward along the Zarya module to the Strela 2. Samantha will translate nadir to the end effector, while Oleg translate to the operator post. Samantha and Oleg will work together to maneuver the Strela 2 end effector over to the Poisk module. Oleg will complete the task by translating to Samantha at the Poisk module. Crew will then install a retainer at the end of the Strela 2 end effector and translate back to the Poisk airlock. To finish up, both Oleg and Samantha will ingress the airlock, ending Russian Spacewalk ESA.
Having regained our downlink TV capability from the International Space Station, we are flying over the western Pacific in darkness, so it's difficult to discern exactly what the two crew members are doing from the video perspective of things. As we listen to the conversations ongoing between the Russian flight control team and Christoforetti and Artemyev, who are setting up shop for their spacewalk today.
So we'll know, and then we can verify the activation by the LED lights. Well, we have so many cameras. It's just a lot of reporting. Okay, 4. So you need to tell us which camera you're working on right now. Yes, we understand. We'll do. So we have one hook for ERA adapter outside, and then you go install the camera. The camera has been installed. Oh, you've installed it already? Yes. And it's installed. I just need to make sure the orientation of the camera is correct. All right. And I will go this way. Okay, I'll go figure all those satellites out. Okay, I'll just show it.
Принято, Олег. Смотри, сейчас у нас еще будет перерыв в видео.
No, Oleg, we'll have video LOS as well.
Ты разместишься на посту оператора.
At this time, you will place yourself in operator post.
Тоже уже рядом.
Samantha will be next to you. Will hand the first nanosatellite to you.
Включить ваши глиссеры.
I propose you turn on your glissers
Для записи запуска.
for recording satellite deployment.
Будем по команде, когда мы попробуем
And
получать картинку.
you will deploy when we give you a go at the time when.
This is Mission Control Houston, a good view of Oleg Artemyev, the Expedition 67 commander, wearing the Orlan suit, bearing the red stripes, joined just to his right by Samantha Cristoforetti in the suit with the blue stripes, as they position the hardware for the deployment of 10 small nano-satellites, part of a radio technology experiment. Now that we're back into an orbital sunrise, we do expect those deployments to occur shortly.
Yes, the white one is connected. It is connected to the large red, and Samantha has just disconnected it from the small red on the fish stringer. I'm releasing it. So the first satellite, I'm holding onto it. But we need to prepare the second one also. We can remove 2 covers at the same time. We will need to have a short. That not more than 5 minutes you have for deployment. 5 minutes, okay.
Да, Олег, мы сейчас сначала на первом.
Momentarily, okay.
На первом прицелимся, примеримся.
Okay, let's aim
руку, так
at
сказать.
the first one. You will
Потом уже остальные, я думаю, быстрее пойдут.
get adjusted, that the other ones will go more smoothly, easier. All right.
Если Саманта чуть пониже уйдет,
If Samantha gets a little bit lower,
Саманта, там будет так удобнее тебе?
maybe you will be more comfortable in jettison up. It is this is the best position for Samantha to work with the satellite. So I just want to make sure she's good and her helmet is not in the way. That's all. Okay, let's try to turn it on, the first one. Yes, go ahead. Okay, the nano-satellite is activated and it is blinking. Okay, wait, the camera is hooked up to the cover. Let me release it. I will turn on the camera. It is secured. It's fine. The camera is on.
Принято.
Copy. Okay.
Ну, с твоего ракурса как будто бы нет смысла включать глиссер.
I'm not sure that Glisser is aiming at... It looks like I will also remove the first cover, okay? I will try.
Может быть, Самантha застрахована?
Okay, I've got it. You can take yours. Done. Now I am taking the hardware, removing the hook. Don't forget to turn on the satellite and make sure the LEDs are on. Okay, LED is on. Copy, go to deploy. Deploy in progress. The satellite is off.
The view from Oleg Artemyev's helmet camera as the second of the 10 nanosatellites begins its trek away from the International Space Station.
One rotation over 16 seconds. Very good. Steady as she goes. Satellite number 3. The LEDs are on. Affirmative. The LED on the left is flashing nominally. I'm ready to deploy. Go to deploy. Satellite is deployed.
3 down, 7 to go.
Можешь чуть-чуть повыше посмотреть? Хорошо попадает.
23, 24, 25, 5, 4, 20 секунд. Один оборот.
One rotation per 20 seconds.
Чуть-чуть пониже надо, да?
Okay, tethers. LED is on. Copy.
3, 2, 1. Готов к старту.
Ready to deploy. Am I go?
Да, Олег, запускай.
Yes, go to deploy.
3, 2, 1. Поехали.
3, 2, 1, go.
Так.
6 of the 10 nanosatellites now having been deployed by Artemyev.
About 45 at 45-minute distance from the previous one. Copy.
The International Space Station has crossed the west coast of Africa, moving from southwest to northeast along the border between Mauritania and Mali.
1 rotation over 17 seconds. Copy. Okay, moving on. Okay, I see the satellite. Okay, we see the previous satellite. And 1, 2, 3, go. Yes, go to deploy. Off it goes. Now let's count the rotation time.
Over the border between Mali and Algeria, the 7th of the 10 nanosatellites now in flight.
This one passes close to the solar array. Oh, it touched the battery. Touched it another time. That's the last contact.
Did you confirm that LEDs are on, Oleg? Yes, I have. The cover is off, OFF. It's on the right-hand side. Let's go. We copy.
Олег, и можешь, пока не начал со спутника,
Oleg,
свою камеру включить-выключить?
can you switch to your camera, Oleg?
Тоже переподключить надо.
Can you turn it on? All right. will do, Samantha. Let's turn the cameras. Cameras. All right. And you try it on your side, Samantha, also. What about the second one? I've got it. All right. Let's look.
8 out of 10 satellites now deployed.
LED 2, 1. Let's go. All right. These are different rotation pattern. It's going. Yes. I'm looking at what has been done. All right.
And the 9th of the 10 satellites has been deployed by Artemyev. One more to go.
Ready with the next one. And I'm ready.
This is Mission Control Houston, approaching the 2-hour mark into today's spacewalk. Oleg Artemyev wearing the Orlan suit with the red stripes, and Samantha Cristoforetti of the European Space Agency in the suit wearing the blue stripes have completed the first task of today's spacewalk, the deployment manually by Artemyev of 10 small nano-satellites, radio technology satellites that were deployed retrograde from the International Space Station. They're all on their way. The work is ongoing now by the Russian Flight Control Team to firmly determine the next activity that will take place in today's timeline that basically is highlighted by the installation of platforms and adapters for future Russian spacewalk work, the replacement of a protective window over the camera lighting unit, one of the 2 camera lighting units on one of the 2 end effectors, or hands, if you will, of the European robotic arm that's on the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module, and the setting of an external control panel for the operation of the arm into what is called a stowage mode.
Когда будет возможность,
Oleg,
включи, пожалуйста, Хеку, а то говорят...
when possible, please activate HECA. All right. I will.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Саманта, а ты вот сейчас, когда наблюдаешь, ты видишь зону, куда будем на Стреле причаливать?
Do you see the area of berthing on Strela? It's actually looking right straight at me.
Запущенных светофильтров работали, я видел, при запуске спутников.
Look, you also observed the area when you were deploying satellites, right?
Светофильтр не опущен?
The light filter, is it lowered? Yes, it is lowered.
Принято.
Copy. It's actually not helping against the sunlight. So I keep holding, right? Yes. Keep holding.
Okay, we need to reposition. Okay, did it install? Okay, now let's do the retainer. Actually, take a break first.
Принято, адаптер стоит.
Okay, we copy adapter is installed. Yes, Artem, adapter is installed. Handle is closed. Retainer is installed.
Отдышитесь, да.
Copy that, guys.
Просьба
Please
камеру
take a break.
переподключить.
And for Samantha, please reconnect HECA camera. Okay, let me help you here. I think the camera is on.
Так, только это камера, которая штатная, другая, не работает, ага. Вот это.
No, it was the other one. You need to turn on the main camera. Okay, now it's working.
Олег, и у меня к тебе просьба, можешь
Oleg,
коротенький сюжет
request
снять,
for you.
как установлен адаптер Еры?
Can you please shoot a video of ERA adapter installation configuration? Okay,
15-20 секунд.
will do.
And at the 3-hour mark of today's spacewalk, minus just a few minutes, the adapter for the European robotic arm has now been installed on the Poisk module. The crew is taking a break. We will see what the Russian flight controllers have in mind on the next task in today's timeline activities. So that completes the second major task of today's spacewalk, following in the wake of the deployment of 10 nanosatellites for radio technology experiment data collection that occurred earlier in today's excursion.
Samantha, do you want to be in the shot?
Хорошо. Так, я сейчас рабочее место занял.
So I'm in the workside, in the position. Give me the cube.
А ты давай приближайся поближе.
And get closer to me.
Там держит.
Something is holding it. That's me.
Да. Тут фал держит.
It's a tether that's holding it. Shall I rehook
Или скинуть его.
or just release?
Все, отцепил.
Okay, that's good.
A good view of the Nauka multipurpose laboratory module, and you see the European robotic arm attached to it. The arm was launched in a stowed configuration on Nauka on a Proton rocket last July from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. As Oleg Artemyev and Samantha Cristoforetti continue work to install a platform on one of the attachment points on Nauka for future spacewalk operations.
Get close.
Она только на этом болту, да, крепится?
Only one bolt is restraining it. Yes. It also has restraining detents. The bolt can back out about 6 turns. Okay. Removed. Almost lost it. Copy.
Так, еще раз. Значит, у нас 2 фиксации.
Okay, we need 2 attachment points.
Все.
Ну как, я думаю, наверное...
Okay, the frame is removed. It is opaque.
Принято.
Copy.
Я думаю, не имеет смысла ее подвязывать проволокой. Может быть, сразу в крылок бэк уберем?
Oleg, instead of wire tying it, maybe you can put it in the Krulok bag?
На рейте не очень хорошо, если только...
Well, I'm going to leave it dangling.
Там уже чехол, да, у нас? Хорошо.
It's not a good idea to have it on the red. Okay. Okay, we'll figure it out. What do we do next? Samantha, your tether is flapping around. Watch out. Okay, I got it. Oh, I thought you were getting ready for a photograph. No, I was holding with the other hand. Okay, let me find a tether to hook it up.
Hey, lastly for you guys, wanted to let you know that we're tracking a potential need for a PDAM later tonight at the end of the EVA activities. Right now the object it's not actionable, but we just wanted to give you a heads up in case it starts trending that way.
Copy, thanks for the heads up, and that will definitely be after the EVA concludes?
Yes, they will have the hatch closed and repressed by the time that we get there, but we will be taking actions for you guys likely during maybe that repress time or near the end of that.
We copy all.
Okay, that's all I had. Anything for us in Houston?
Так, давай приступим тогда. Первым делом шпаргалку.
Okay, Oleg, let's start. Take the cheat sheet. Take it with you.
Говори.
Yes, go ahead, Artem.
Да, первым делом мы выключаем тумблер питания.
So, first we flip the power switch. Okay.
Выключаю.
Turning off the power. Power switch is off. Everything is off. Copy, all LEDs are off.
Принято.
Copy.
Включай обратно тумблер питания.
Now turn on the power switch. Done. LED is green.
Принято. Дальше на
Copy. Then
автоменю.
on the display, go to menu.
Май 1, TPS, INGRESS, init status, phase, потом INGRESS.
Reading the menu.
И в меню start, skip, config, stop, end.
Принято.
Copy.
Теперь тумблер старт-стоп.
Now
Положение стоп.
put the start-stop switch in the stop position and keep it in this position for 2 or 3 seconds.
Положение стоп. 2 секунды.
Copy. Start-stop switch in the stop position, holding for 2 seconds.
This is Mission Control Houston. 5 hours, 51 minutes into today's spacewalk. Just to recap, the Russian flight controllers in Korolyov at the Russian Mission Control Center have instructed the crew to begin to wrap up work and make their way back towards the Poisk airlock hatch, not completing the final task, which was to have been the extension of one of 2 telescoping booms from the Zarya module to the Poisk module to facilitate future spacewalking tasks. That activity will be deferred to a future spacewalk. The 2 spacewalkers, Artemyev and Cristoforetti, completed the deployment of 10 nanosatellites, part of a radio electronics experiment. They installed a platform with adapters on the Nauka module for future use in the relocation of the airlock for Nauka that is currently housed on the Roscosmos module of the International Space Station. They also installed an adapter on the Poisk module on one of the fixture points in which other hardware will be mounted on future Russian spacewalks. They replaced a protective window on one of 2 identical camera light units on the European robotic arm's end effector, one of 2 such end effectors on the arm, and they set an external control panel into a stowage or hibernation mode until it is relocated also on a future Russian spacewalk. A great view from the HD camera on Samantha Cristoforetti's suit of the Expedition 67 commander, Oleg Artemyev, who now is in the home stretch of the 6th spacewalk of his career. Cristoforetti etched her name into the history books today by becoming the first European woman and the 4th European overall to conduct a spacewalk in a Russian spacesuit. Jean-Luc Chrétien, Thomas Reiter, who did 2 such spacewalks, and Jean-Pierre Hanier in 1999 was the last European to conduct a spacewalk in a Russian Orlan suit.
Maybe you've switched it and placed it in the crew log bag? Okay, let me look inside the crew log bag to make sure. Maybe it is there, who knows? Let me have a look. In 5 minutes, we'll have the orbital day. I see 1 ratchet wrench, just 1. And the second one is the ESA one. And then I see another wrench. Is that the ratchet wrench that we're supposed to confirm? Yes. Sounds good.
Six hours, 39 minutes into the spacewalk. Artemyev and Cristoforetti now climbing back inside the Poisk airlock. They will soon close the hatch to mark the official start, or the official end of today's excursion. We'll be calculating the elapsed time for you once we confirm that with the Russian flight controllers in Korolyov. And then the repressurization of the airlock will get underway.